Good morning, everyone. We are starting a new unit today. So you'll want to go into your dashboard and your class, look at the announcements for what we're doing today. So we're going to begin the Outsiders and Outcasts unit with the story, Isn't Everyone a Little Weird? So we'll go into modules. Let's look at the overview. So in this unit, we're going to explore what does it mean to be an outsider and how can being different shape who we become. We're going to read several texts from the book using our reading strategies and context clues, annotation. We're going to create vocabulary lists from the texts, and we'll learn about claims, evidence, and reasoning. Our learning targets for this unit are reading, being able to identify theme, character, perspective, and author's purpose. Language, learning academic vocabulary for outsiders and identity, as well as sentence frames for discussion. Participated structured discussions, partner retells, possibly a Socratic circle. And then we're going to be writing an argument essay. In order to successfully complete this unit, you're going to need to create a vocabulary list from each text, read and discuss each text, looking for the outsider outcast motif, characterization and claims, evidence, and reasoning. You're going to be able to discuss your understanding with peers in partners, small groups, and class-wide discussion. You're going to complete graphic organizers and annotation activities for the texts. You're also going to read a complete novel using the skills you practiced up above in the short stories. And you're going to compose an MLA format argument essay. Is it better to embrace being different or to try to fit in? Okay, so that's the overview. So today we're going to focus on the first one. Isn't everyone a little weird? So we're going to build our background on theme, exploring the concept of what it means to be an outsider. We're going to talk about that in a group discussion, what it means to be an outsider, and have you ever felt left out? Why are we doing this? To build skills and knowledge to identify theme, character, perspective, and author's purpose. The steps today, you're going to read the text, identify the theme, the character's perspective, and the author's style using vocabulary. The text is Isn't Everyone a Little Weird on page 130 to 131 in your textbooks. You're going to work with a neighbor to discuss the theme and perspective and work together on creating a vocabulary list of 3 words from the text. We're also you're going to use the strategy that I will go over with you at the beginning of class. We're going to look at vocab squares and the traditional strategy for vocabulary. You're going to finish the day by writing a short response in your notebook to I felt left out when I. Okay? So the vocab squares information is here. So let's look at that. Okay, so vocabulary squares is a strategy that you can use. A lot of people normally just put like the word out here and then the definition out here, and they're fine with that. But some people need a little more help. So we're going to look at vocabulary squares. And some of you may have seen this before. So vocabulary squares, you have the word here in the center. You have the definition up here, what it is not. You're going to have 2 examples of what the word is. And then any connections you can make to that. Okay? So let's look at that in practice. So we have the word eccentric. It's an adjective. It means unconventional and slightly strange. What it's not is normal. Okay? Some examples might be a person who could be in a hoarder situation. You know, they have collections and they keep adding to their collections. It could be belt buckles. It could be miniature horses. It could be a collection of greeting cards. They're a little eccentric. They're a little unconventional and slightly strange. Now, under connections, I'm going to leave that up to you. What you want to write under connections is if English is your second language, what is a word in your home language that means roughly the same thing? You can write that down here. You can write synonyms. So eccentric could be weird, obviously. Strange. It could be unique. All right. So that's what you're going to write under connections. Words that you connect with the vocabulary term. Okay. So apprentice, right? Apprentice might be, it's also an adjective, could also be a noun. An apprentice is someone who is in training to become a professional, okay? What it is not is going to be a student. Well, no, an apprentice is a student. What it is not is a expert, okay? So examples of an apprentice might be a person who is learning to be a plumber, a person who is learning to be a woodworker, a person who is learning to run a business, okay? That's an apprentice. They are a student of the job, not necessarily a student in school. Connections, once again, what is a word in your home language that it means roughly the same thing? An apprentice could be, in English, we call them journeymen. We call them assistants. We call them trainees. We call them proteges. Okay, so different words. So you get the idea. All right. The next thing, after we've picked out 3 words, you're going to read Isn't Everyone a Little Weird? And discuss with your neighbor, what do you think is the theme and what is the perspective of the author? And then you're going to jot those ideas down in your notebook. And then the last 10 minutes of class, you're going to write a short response in your notebook that starts with, I felt left out when I, okay? And then you're going to finish that. Next class, we are going to read the story, The Doll's House, from our textbook. It's a story of a family of wealth and how they treat other people. If you have any questions, email me, let me know how I can help. I'll be around visiting with each one of you during class. Good luck.